Okay, please welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show, Laura Vorreyer. Hi, Laura. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Doing just fine. Thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Let's see. You are a professional dog sitter? Is that what you call you?
Well, dog walker, pet sitter.
Pet sitter. Okay. All right. You've got your own company called Your Dog's Best Friend. And according to your bio, you've been doing this for 15 years? Over 15 years, yeah? Wow.
That's right, yes.
So tell us how you got started with this.
Oh, Douglas, I got started accidentally. I came out to Los Angeles from Chicago to be a makeup artist, and that did not go too good for me. I wound up struggling, and to make ends meet, I was doing pretty much anything and everything I could to pay the rent. And I happened to be walking a dog for a gal who was working on a film set, and out of a trailer came the comedian Paula Poundstone. We struck up a small conversation. You know, I was trying not to be starstruck and not make eye contact. And she thought, well, I was so aloof. She said, "Hey, are you a professional dog walker?" And I said, yeah, I am now. And she wound up hiring me to walk her dog, Cal. And it just organically sort of snowballed into a full-time career.
Well, that's pretty amazing. So are you one of these people, like I've seen those films of people, especially more in New York, but where they have 6 dogs going out all at the same time? Do you do that?
No, see, that is more of a New York thing because you can go into one building in New York and pick up 6 or 7 dogs, and that's going to make up, half your day's work, taking all those dogs out and then getting them all back home. But I have a different model, and, different people do different things, but what I do is the one-on-one private dog walks. So our walks are actually customized to the needs of the dogs. Now you think, well, how many needs do dogs have? But some dogs are puppies and they need to be more active. Some dogs are older and they're not so active. And some dogs are in the midst of being trained. So they need to sit at stops and they need to respond to different commands. So we customize the walks, and they are pretty much private unless the household has, 2 dogs or 3 dogs, and they can all go together. But typically we do one-on-one private dog walks.
Okay, because you're in Los Angeles, so I assume you got to have a car or a van or something.
Oh, absolutely.
So you go to somebody's house who has gone on vacation, and you go in and take the dog out? Is that, or you just let them out? How does that work?
Well, it depends on what the client wants. So most people who go on vacation want you to sleep over with the dog. So that's an overnight stay. And then they'll usually want additionally 2 more visits. So if you sleep over, you're going to wake up there naturally and you'll let the dog out or take him for a walk and give him breakfast and get them settled in the house. And then you might leave and go walk and visit some other pets. And then you'd come back to that house typically for a midday visit and then leave again. And then one more time you'd come by at night, swing by for dinner, and maybe you've arranged to stay over or come back again in the morning. So it really is customized to the needs of the pet and the needs of the family that has the dog and, what they want and what the dog is most comfortable with.
So how busy are you?
I'm pretty busy, especially since a couple of years ago I started opening up my home to do private in-house dog boarding, and that is booked pretty much consistently holiday to holiday all year round because people are traveling for spring break, they're going overseas for the summer, they're getting their kids into university in the fall, and then they're traveling again for the holidays. So I only take about 6 dogs, usually small dogs, in my home. I don't have a big, commercial facility, even though I have considered it. So pretty busy between the in-home boarding and the going over to do sleepovers and all the walking and, all the ancillary stuff that we offer, visits to the vet and visits to the groomer and, all those things. It's pretty busy. I'd say it's around-the-clock full-time job.
Well, now, I'm a dog lover as well. I have 2 dogs. In fact, they're both right here in the studio with me. One of them is my footrest. I don't know why he likes to get under the desk and fall asleep as soon as I start talking, as I just put my feet on him. And he's great, nice fuzzy. I just take my shoes off. I'm barefoot and, I got this nice fuzzy pillow on me. He's a big German Shepherd, 115 pounds. And then I've got a small one who's a mix. He's half poodle, half Shih Tzu. And every time I take him out, nobody knows what kind of dog he is because he doesn't look like either one. People always come up, what kind of dog is that? And I get some new breed of dog. But he's asleep in my lounge chair. So they're good. They're good studio company in here. And I love the message on your bio that says, it's perfectly acceptable to love a dog more than you love people. I got a kick out of that because one of my favorite sayings was Mark Twain, who said just about the same thing. The more I get to know people, the more I love my dog. And I have to agree. People can be such a pain in the ass. Not all people. I love a lot of people, but dogs just don't have...
Now you gotta walk it back.
Yeah. Dogs just don't have that same disposition. You know, they don't care. You know, you can take them where you want to go. As long as you're with them and you take care of them and you feed them, they'll love you unconditionally forever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
People won't do that necessarily.
You're so right. You know, I love my dog so much, and he's my canine soulmate, and he gets me. You know, he knows, oh, you know, we're going on a walk, or, oh, we're going to go on a car ride, or, oh, my mom doesn't feel good, or, oh, it's time for dinner. And it just catch him sometimes when I'm talking or writing emails or whatever. I'll just catch him, and I'll see him, and he'll just be staring at me lovingly. And I thought, wow, you know, that's true love. I mean, you really can feel from your pets that they love you unconditionally, and so truly. It really is heartwarming. They are a gift. Some people say, I know, well, we don't deserve dogs, but I'm so thankful that they're here.
You know, the part that I love is I've had both of these since they were puppies, and it's so fun to watch them learn as they grow up, because they pick up on your routine. And honestly, they pick up on your routine more than I know my routine. And sometimes they are absolutely amazing. Like the big dog, the German Shepherd, if I go to grab my glasses, he knows I'm getting in the car because I have to have glasses to drive. I grab the glasses, he goes crazy. He goes to his cubby hole and will grab the harness that we put on him. He will grab it in his mouth and come over. All I got to do is grab my glasses. Now, I didn't teach him to do that. He just learned that all by himself. He figured it out. And I thought, wow. Because I think a lot of people don't, especially like non-doggy people, they don't really have this perception of dogs being anything but an animal. And they're just so much more. They really have a keen sense of environment and what you do. And if you do something strange, they react. You do something out of your normal routine, they react to it. They're very sensitive. Have you found that to be true?
Yeah. Yes, try walking backwards in front of your dog and see what kind of faces they make.
I haven't tried that one yet. I might.
Sometimes. And he gives me this crazy look like, why are you walking backwards? I've never seen you do that before. What's that?
So do you want to do any name dropping? You want to, you mentioned Paula Poundstone. I'm
not a big name dropper, and I think that most people appreciate their privacy, so I'll name the big names. You know, I took care of Dr. Dre's dogs for a long time, and I don't think that he minds that whatsoever that I say that. You know, he was a real animal lover, and he loved his dogs, and he had a variety of dogs, you know, little dog, and then a big dog, and then a security dog, and him and his family were just really in love with all the dogs, and really so good to me. And they wanted their dogs to get exercise and not be out when it was too hot and get good care and get groomed once a week. So he's a big one. I'd say Dr. Dre is the biggest. And, you know, a lot of celebrities, they just love their pets just like we do. You know, they're not doing anything too much more extravagant than we are, except for, you know, those limo rides and private jets, of course.
Well, true. And I can see why celebrities would particularly go for dogs, because again, it's like what we were talking about. They're not going to hound them for autographs. They're not going to be starstruck. And most celebrities, particularly movie stars or musicians, people that are in the public eye, once they finish what they do, as much as they love doing it, they want to switch off and just be a normal person and go home and not be bothered. And sometimes that's difficult when you're a big celebrity where you can't go anywhere without drawing a crowd. But you don't have that issue with your dog. You come home, the dog's happy to see you, you put food in their bowl, and then they come and sit with you and just, I can see why that would be such a comfort for people that are, particularly people in the limelight.
Absolutely. I agree with you because there's no expectation. You can let your hair down, you can let your guard down, you can just be yourself and relax in front of your pets. There's no pretense of being, a star. There's just you, and you're the person that they love and adore, and it's great. They see you when you're at your best, they see you when you're at your worst, and, you're so right about dogs figuring it out and getting it. So many of my clients get hung up on their dogs being trained and, doing certain things and acting certain ways, and I always tell them, don't stress. If you're consistent, they're going to get it. If your dog is smart, and let's face it, most dogs have some good amount of intelligence. I mean, I've only met maybe 5% or 10% of dogs that I've met. They're just too goofy, or they're not interested, or they're too food motivated to really consider anything but themselves. But most dogs, the majority of dogs, are really interested in what their human counterparts are doing because they want to please you and they want to anticipate your needs and what you're going to do so they can do it with you.
Exactly. And I have done very little training with these dogs. Both of them had to be housebroken, and when they were puppies, they'd go in the house. But at a certain point, they just started to hold it and would wait until I let them out in the yard, and then they'd go. And after that point, it just stopped. I would wake up in the morning expecting to have to clean a pile or a puddle, and nothing. And all of a sudden, then they're like jumping at the door and they want to get out. Open it up, they go out into the grass, do their stuff, came back. And both of them did the same thing. I think the one taught the other one because they're 4 years apart in age. I really think that the older one taught the young one, no, you got to hold it, wait till he opens the door, then they can go out and do it. I really believe that.
Oh, I believe it. Oh, dogs are the best trainers of other dogs. Absolutely. And when you get in a group setting with, a professional dog trainer, they typically will have that one lead dog that they use as a teacher to the other dogs. And they'll say, okay, watch this dog. He's going to do it. And he'll show the other dogs what to do because it's no better teacher than, watching somebody do it and then doing it yourself. So absolutely, your dog has definitely taught the other dog what to do.
Have you met, I can't remember his last name now, Caesar?
Cesar Millan?
Cesar Millan.
Many moons ago when he had first gotten his start and I was first getting my start around the same time, we walked together and I had a couple dogs on leash and he had his dogs throw off the leash. And I said, aren't you worried about your dogs getting away? Aren't you worried about them running off, coming back? He said, oh no, they follow me. I'm the leader. And I'll just never forget the gift. I mean, just the natural born gift that he had to be the leader to these dogs, the pack leader. And they were like bees in a hive to him. I wouldn't let my dogs off the leash because they would scatter all over the four corners of the earth. I know it, or I would never see them again. I just didn't have that command. But he did. And it wasn't anything he said, but it was that energy that he had where the dogs wanted to stay by his side and they listened to him and they intuited what he wanted. It was amazing. And we walked a couple times together and then he, went on his path and I went on mine, but I knew he had a gift and a talent. And I'm really glad that he was able to get that out into the world because truly, truly a gifted trainer. Gifted.
So he started out as a dog walker as well? See, I don't know his history.
He was doing dog walking and dog training, and
wow.
It was just natural for him. He wasn't doing it as a profession. He was just doing it to help people. And then people said, oh my gosh, you're so good at this. Let me give you some money. And then it just, took off. But he was just naturally very good, always since he was a young child, with dogs. He just has a gift. He has the mind meld with them, and that's a gift.
Well, I agree. I've watched his show. I really like his show. I completely enjoy it. And I like how he, like you said, he just turns himself into the alpha dog in the pack. And he has the ability. You've seen his show where these people had this dog that was just bouncing off the walls, absolutely a crazy dog, biting everybody. And Caesar comes in the house, and within 10 minutes, the dog is like laying there, legs up, waiting for his belly to be scratched. It was amazing. And I think he amazes the owners. But that's the thing I found.
He amazes the owner.
Yeah. That's the thing I found interesting about that show, was that what he seems to, or tends to point out, is that it's not the dog's fault. It's the owners. It's always the owners doing something wrong. And the dog is only reacting as a dog would do.
So often it's true, yes.
I think that some people probably just are not suitable to have dogs because they just don't understand.
Well, I think you're right, and I think it has a lot to do with your energy as an owner and as a person, because the dogs are picking up on that nonverbal communication of your energy. You can be speaking calmly to your dog, but if you're manic, really energetically, your dog is picking up on what you're sending out with that vibration. So even though Caesar has, that calm, that alpha presence, when he leaves, that dog is going back to its prior behavior because the people don't have that same inner calm. And so that's a lot of what he tries to teach, is that you need to internalize the energy that you want to throw out to your dog. It's like when you're walking your dog on the leash and he sees another dog and he's going to be, trying to pull or get leash aggression or go towards that other dog. You want to have that energy and just visualize it going through your arm into that lead, into your dog, that, we're going to stay calm, you're going to stay by my side, and we're going to ignore that dog and keep walking and keep moving, and don't give any of your attention to that dog that your dog is going to go crazy about, because that's going to give them the cue, go crazy for that dog. Mom's looking at it, Dad's looking at it, my human is fixated on it, now I'm going to go crazy on it. So, you've got to have that energy, and it's difficult. We've got a lot of different focuses in our lives. We focuses on our phones and our laptops and people, and there's so much to be, called in so many different directions, that you really need to focus your energy on your dog so your dog can get it. It's just a matter of getting in tune with them and giving them that calm, focused alpha energy.
Absolutely. I agree. And the dog is primarily just focused on you. They don't have all of the distractions. I think with the exception of birds, my dogs are pretty much, or squirrel or something like that. If a squirrel comes in the yard, then that's it. I'm gone. They're off with the squirrel. But like you said, they don't care about the phone. They don't care if the TV's on. They don't care, their focus is primarily on you. So, right, if you're distracted, the dog is going to be confused. I think the energy that the dog is picking up. Let me ask you about training. You do dog training, yeah?
I do basic obedience dog training, and so I used to do that, but again, to your earlier point about the owners, it was just so hard to get the consistency from the owners to work with the hand gestures and say the words or give the treat or click or train, to do it the way I was doing that. I have a couple people who have been through training certification who work with me, and I let them do the training. I find the training part to be the most frustrating because, again, if you don't get the owners to be consistent, then the dog won't get trained, or the dog is only trained to when you're there. So I do the basic obedience training, and that's something we do offer. But I don't really sell myself as a trainer, Douglas. There's a lot of wonderful trainers out there. Gosh, Caesar being one. And they're really, turning the lives around of these dogs who maybe won't get adopted, or they stay in shelters because maybe they had food aggression or they were aggressive towards certain breeds. So training, yes, basic obedience, but anything beyond that, no, that's not really where my professional, expertise lies.
Okay. You brought up something there that I wanted to touch on. Various breeds of dogs. Are there any issues with you can't mix this breed with this breed? Because my two are about as opposite as you can be. Like I said, the German Shepherd is a pure breed, 115 pounds. He's massive. The other one is about 15 pounds, maybe. Looks completely different. He likes to go underneath the German Shepherd when he's standing, right between the legs. And they just play. And now the little one is the older one. The German Shepherd is just 2 years old, so he's just kind of coming out of his puppy stage. But what I notice is that the little one is the alpha because he's older. And they don't seem to have any issues about, I'm 10 times your weight and size. The German Shepherd will always bow to the small one. And I'm making a comparison here because they're so different, yet they stay within the sort of parameters of the pecking order. Where people, unfortunately, is open and as liberal as we've tried to be in the United States. I'm not going politics, but people still do judge people based on their appearance or their ethnicity or their gender or whatever. There's still issues with that in our society. I don't see that with dogs. Do you have any story or any comment about, this breed doesn't get along with that breed? Or is a dog a dog a dog?
Well, a dog is a dog is a dog, and they are shaped very much by their early experiences. And, there's no continuity across breeds where you might say, this is a bully breed and he's aggressive, he's a bad dog. So it just really depends on each individual dog, much like it does each individual person. You can't really classify any one group or gender or sex or anybody by their anything but their own deeds and their own words and their own, what they do. So, there's no bad breeds. Sure, you might get an aggressive dog who doesn't seem to like certain people or doesn't seem to like certain other dogs. But most of the time it's, a one-off, because I rarely see dogs that are just untrainable or aggressive or really just bad dogs. I mean, most dogs are happy-go-lucky, and that's the category that they fall into. I'd say maybe 70 or 80% of dogs are just happy-go-lucky dogs, just like your two dogs. They're happy-go-lucky. They love you. They want to please you. They are smart. They're trained. They're housebroken. They're good dogs, and most dogs are like that. There is a small percentage of dogs. Maybe they were bred from when they were puppies to be aggressive or fight, or maybe they were abused, and that's the worst case because, dogs that are abused when they're young, they get fear aggression and they become aggressive. So it really is based on every individual dog should be judged on its own behavior. And just like people, absolutely, I don't think there's any bad breeds. It's just unfortunate that you get these dogs, they have these, horrible experiences when they're young, and that's imprinted in their memory.
Yeah, well, that's true. And I guess the same argument could be said for people as well. Children that are abused come from abused homes, and they grow up having all kinds of problems sometimes.
It's cyclical, it's a cycle, and that's a pattern that has to be broken, not just with pets, but with the people. Absolutely, it's a cycle, and if you can break it when the dog is younger and reteach those behaviors, then you're going to have a good dog. I was working with a shelter that wanted to get more dogs adopted, and they said, a lot of times these dogs are failing the food aggression test, and so we can't adopt them out, which means they put a bowl of food in front of them and they scarf it down and they growl when other dogs or people come around because, they want to hide that resource. And that's because a lot of these dogs came off the street and they were starving. Yeah. They didn't know when their next food would come from. So it wasn't really fair to assess them on food aggression when reality is, my dog was like that in the beginning too. He would gobble down every meal that you put in front of him, and he would just inhale it. But now I've had it for so long, he's a little more picky about his food. He knows there's more. It's not going to run out. He doesn't have to hunt. He knows he's going to eat and get treats, so he's a little bit bougie. He doesn't like something, I'll leave it on the floor. Maybe I'll get back to it, maybe not, He doesn't like carrots. I know lots of my clients are like, oh, give him carrots. They love carrots. My dog, he wouldn't eat anything healthy if his life depended on it. Carrots, apples, no way, no thanks. I don't like those things. They're too healthy.
I can't get my dogs to eat anything but meat. That's it. They eat meat and dry food. They just won't, they'll look at an apple and just actually the German Shepherd will take an apple piece and go like all the way across the room, get up on I have a sofa that's just for them, and he'll get up on the sofa and he'll spit it out and drop it to the floor and then look at me like he's making a statement, He's like, I'm a dog. I don't eat apples, It's funny.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's funny. My dog loves cold cuts. Anything that is in the refrigerator has the potential to be a cold cut, especially if it's in a wrapper. So he could be sleeping on his bed on the other side of the house, and if he hears a wrapper, he's instantly awake and running into the kitchen just to see, is it a cold cut? Nope. Oh, not a cold cut? Okay, go back.
Oh, yeah. They learn all the sounds. Exactly. Absolutely
all
true.
The sounds, right.
Yeah. We got to kind of move it along. We're running quickly out of time here. So tell us a little about your book. The book's called The Pet Sitter's Tale.
The book is called The Pet Sitter's Tale, and it's out on audio right now, and I know a lot of people do like to listen to audiobooks, so it's joined the ranks as an audiobook. If you like that, you can put on your headphones and listen to that while you're walking your dog. And, it's a collection of short stories based on my career here in Los Angeles of walking dogs and being a pet sitter. And it's a little bit of everything. So there's some funny stories. Of course, there's a couple sad stories. But it's mostly an uplifting book about pet ownership and, the crazy things that people do when we're in love with our pets. And a little bit about starting a business and being an entrepreneur and what that's all about.
Well, super. Okay. And you said it's available on Amazon. Do you have a website that you want to give out?
Sure, yes. It's The Pet Sitter's Tale, and that's tale, TALE.com. And people can check out the website or hit me up on Twitter. I'm kind of talky on Twitter, and I know a lot of my people that I'm friends with on Twitter will send me pictures of their pets, and I love that, and I will retweet them. And I love seeing the pictures of the doggies, so you can send those along.
Well, super. Well, Laura, we got to wrap this up. Thank you so much for coming on. It was really nice talking to a fellow dog lover. We could talk about our dogs forever, yeah? Best of luck with the book. I hope it does well. Best of luck with the book. I hope it does very well. And thank you so much again for coming on the show.
Thanks, Douglas. This is great to talk to you. I love talking to fellow dog lovers as well. And make sure you give your doggies some meat treats for me.
Will do.